So today we're going to talk about Threads. If you've never even heard of it, that's fair. It's a separate platform entirely from what we usually talk about because we're usually talking about things that apply to Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, those kinds of things that we are used to discussing. Threads is just another platform that's really fun, and I want to explain, what it is, how you can use it for your business and personal, how to set up a profile if you haven't yet, and really what is the purpose of being there and how to use the platform. So our session goals is just that, to learn what Threads is and how it can fit into your online presence that you already have or that your goal is to get started in 2026. It's a short form content platform. So we're going to talk about why that even matters and how you can use that to your advantage, especially since you're in a personal brand like real estate. That quick connection content is what is huge on Threads. It's what works. So we're going to talk about how to do that. And then, of course, my favorite, repurposing, because we need to be working smarter, not harder, especially when it comes to social media, because you guys are not social media managers. This isn't supposed to be your full-time job. It shouldn't even really be a part-time job. It's just something that comes with the territory that kind of a necessary evil. So we want to make the most of your time by repurposing content across platforms and across all of your marketing when possible. And with that, how to use Threads without adding more to your plate because no one has time for that. So, this is just my suggestion if you are kind of ready to branch out to a new platform that does not require a lot of time commitment from you. Threads could be it for you in 2026. So, a brief summary of just what Threads is and why you should even care. You know, if you've taken any of my workshops, I talk a lot about Meta and how with their platforms and what they offer and what they add to their platforms, it's usually to keep up with other platforms. If anything, they are really good at staying up with the competition. Um, just like when we learned Reels, that was kind of their answer to TikTok, Meta's answer to TikTok, video, short form video content. Threads is Meta's answer to X, which is formerly known as Twitter. So again, Facebook, Instagram, all under that umbrella. Threads is under that umbrella as well. They just said, how can we get more users to our Meta platform versus letting them be on other platforms? So it's essentially old Twitter, if you ever had a Twitter account or have one. Fast moving, very low effort, high reach content. You're going to hear me say it a lot today. It's like writing in your journal or just saying a quick thought that pops into your head. That is a lot of what Threads is. Like this example here, Instagram is very polished and professional. Threads is more, let's just say what we're thinking and see what happens. So if you already have an account, or if you already have an Instagram account, if you've been posting or not, but if you have one, then you already have a Threads account. So it's as simple as downloading the Threads app and logging in for the first time. So it's very easy because it will walk you through the setup. And I have some screenshots on the next page that we will look over. So if you want to, while I'm talking on this screen, to download the app if you haven't yet, then you'll be able to walk it through with me. So again, the type of content you're going to put out on Threads is your thoughts, your voice, a lot of connection. And some people tend to favor this type of content because you don't have to get those perfectly polished graphics put together or the perfect photo to go with it, or even really hashtags or video creation. No reels necessary. So it's something that is, like I said, it's really easy to just experiment with and get started and try. No hashtags are required, but a lot of reach will be found through your content using keywords, which is essentially what hashtags are these days on social media anyway. But I mentioned that just so you know, the more keyword rich your sentences are in these posts, the more likely you are to reach the right audience. We'll talk a little bit more about that too when we talk about outbound engagement and getting your algorithm kind of reset to be optimized for you as well. These are just some examples of reels that when I opened up my reels tab when I was putting this together, had kind of taken off and were funny or relatable to what we're talking about. So it really is like this thread here. You can put out a thread a day, two, three threads a day for weeks and not get a single engagement. And then you can put out the most random thread about the most random topic, and suddenly it seems to reach every corner of the internet, and you just blow up with comments and shares and reposts, etc. It really comes down to people relating to what you're talking about or just being interested in what you're talking about and having an opinion because it's threads is where people go to share their opinion. People love to talk, they love to give their opinions and talk about um, themselves, honestly. So if you give them the opportunity to do that in your threads content, it's going to reach farther. These are also just some other funny ones, real estate related. This one came up when I searched real estate as a keyword. Um, Same with this one, like home ownership. And then I don't know if anyone has elementary age kids like me, then you've heard 6, 7. I don't know. I still don't know what it is. There's some popular topics on threads right now. Okay, so the basics. If you had a chance to download the app while I was talking, you can go ahead and pull it up if you've never logged in before. If you don't have an Instagram, I would recommend setting up the Instagram first and then jumping into Threads, just because again, it'll knock it all out at once, and it's pretty seamless when you already have an Instagram. So it's the same exact login information. And if you're already logged into Instagram, when you pull up the Threads app, it will ask you to log in via Instagram. Or if you have your password saved, it may even be as simple as a click. And it will ask you if you want your profile to be public or private. If it's going to be your business profile, I always recommend making it public. So people can find you, you can find more people. And then it's as simple as clicking join thread, selecting that you do want to import your Instagram settings, is another question. So you can directly import everything. It will literally look like your Instagram bio profile, but just on threads instead. So your about me, your little bio about me section, you can even import your followers as long as they're active on threads. So you may notice um, a jump in the number of followers because they also have to have selected that they want to follow their Instagram people on threads. I know this is a little confusing. But it does give you a little bit of a running start to already have some followers. And then your website link, assuming that you have a business profile, which you should on Instagram. If you're doing this, for your real estate business, you should have a creator or a business profile set up. Then you will have a website link in that bio that will also transfer over to Threads. Even better, because we love ease, you can cross post directly from Instagram to Threads. So I don't recommend this as your main thread strategy because, again, the platforms are different. The forms of content that work on each are different. But if you are in a pinch and you're just trying to get your content out on various platforms, to reach more people, that's fair. So if you've crafted this perfect Instagram post or Instagram reel and you want to cross post it to Threads, it's as simple as a click. When you go to post on Instagram, it will give you a little section that asks about other platforms to share to, and Threads is one that you can toggle on as long as you have it set up. So, some quick profile optimization kind of tips. Um, It's a lot like Instagram in that your name field, you want it to include what you do, keyword rich, if you will. One click when people get to your profile should tell them why you want them there, what you do, and how you can help them. So, because they're going to find you in some random ways, maybe on a topic that's not even about real estate, but there are plenty of ways for them to find you. We just want them to be clear on what you do so that it can be a quick, easy follow for them. So in your bio, say what you do, who you help. Like an I help statement can be something I help buyers and sellers, XYZ, what's the problem that you eliminate for them? Where you work, if you have a specific niche, or you can mention, Central Indiana, Indianapolis, Indiana. Those are all keywords that people would be searching when looking up real estate. So just random example here. Realtor in Indy helping buyers and sellers make confident moves. And then you'll want to have your link to go directly where you want them to land. So obviously our goal is to get them off of social media and connecting with them in another way. So whether that's signing up for your email list, make it one click to sign up for your email list. Your website, if you want them to go there and fill out a form for a CMA, whatever it may be, an appointment booking calendar link to your Calendly. Um, just make it easy, make it one click for them to fulfill that call to action. And then your photo, if you can keep it consistent with your Instagram so that people recognize you right away, if they already follow you on Instagram, then they don't even have to use their brain to read your name. When I tell you we're trying to make it as easy as possible for people to find you and follow you and recognize your brand on social media, amongst the doom scroll. Yeah, attention spans we know are very short these days, so we have to help people wherever we can. So with that, keep your photo consistent or just use one that looks similar. And always use your face over any kind of logo, team logo, Tucker logo. You want to use your face so people recognize you, connect with you. And again, that consistency. And then I already mentioned searchable keywords in your name field. So Indy Realtor, Indianapolis real estate, things like that, that people would be searching for, or topics that they are already shown in their algorithm feed. That's what you're going to want to have there. And then screenshotted my profile because I just wanted to show that Threads I have less than 300 followers. Um, but my average is usually more, you can see it's about 20,000 in the last 30 days. I usually average around 30 to 45,000 in reach in 30 days. And that is with under 300 followers. So what's very impressive about this platform is that unlike Facebook, where if you don't have followers, your content is just not seen by many, Threads just opens the floodgates on views and reach and potential people that can see your content that aren't following you. That's what makes it so enticing to spend time on and invest some strategy into because of how wide your reach can go and the variety of topics that you can discuss. No one's expecting for your whole feed to be consistent and aesthetically pleasing and all those things that you have to do on other platforms. And then this is just an easy share your profile. If you're trying to grow on this account, the fact that they have this fun little QR code that people can scan and find you right away. If you do want to direct them to one of your social platforms where you're active once you get going on here, if that makes sense. Because I always tell people your social media accounts are like your active websites. They're like a landing page that people should be able to go for social proof and to see what you're up to, what you're doing on a regular basis. You can, I'm all for websites. We need websites too, of course. But you can create a website and leave it stagnant for years and no one would know. Social media, if you haven't posted recently, it kind of seems like you're not doing much or you're not active necessarily. So keeping up with consistency on social media just for that reason, to have that social proof and that landing page to send people is always useful. So this could be that platform for you if it, since it's so easy that you can just write a couple sentences and go on about your day. And we'll even talk about um, scheduling threads in advance because that's something you can do. So you can sit down for a quick little threads content strategy planning session and get a few weeks of threads posts put together and then not have to think about it again for a couple weeks. It's that simple. Okay, so the vibe on threads, we've already kind of talked about it, but I'll go into a little bit more detail. So it's not just a business platform, of course. Of course, people are finding, making connections over different areas of their life on threads. So part of my brand is indie sports. I'm a huge Colts fan. I talk a lot about it, a lot about Pacers, Colts, Fever in general in my content. So that's another thing that I will post a lot about on threads as games are going on, or if games are coming up, or if we have a home game that we're going to, that kind of stuff. So I bring that example up just because if there's something like that that you want your algorithm to kind of know about you and you post about, you're going to see more content like that. You can connect with people that have those same interests. And that's how we find a lot of connections to potential real estate clients, right? Is just your sphere that you already have and how you can connect that to your business. So that's why I make that point there. On any of these platforms, I want you to be mixing in some fun, some personal, but this is one that it's easy to do so, and it's quick, and you can jump back and forth between topics, between real estate and business and fun and what you're doing this weekend and your hobbies, and it doesn't matter. There's no penalties like on other platforms where you have to kind of be consistent and again have that feed that makes sense and looks right and all of that. So just just come be weird on threads, basically. Posts can be casual, weird, personal, playful, smart, and you can post 3 times a day. You can post once every few days. There's no, when I say penalty might be a strong word, but for Instagram, for example, quality over quantity is what we always preach there. So I would rather have someone post three times a week, really good posts, really good content that algorithm likes, and that people, that spreads over those 3 to 4 days versus posting every single day, and that good content getting kind of pushed down, if that makes sense. So once you post a new piece of content on Instagram or on Facebook, the old content gets kind of squashed. That's not the case as much on threads. You can post as much as you want, and you could still have a random thread take off, and it doesn't matter. So think of it like your group chat, your group texting. Of course, we got to keep it social media business appropriate, but group texting meets caption writing. So instead of these long, eloquently written captions with all kinds of educational detail, this is so low pressure. All right, so your visibility on threads and how it works. I've kind of talked about this already a little bit, so I won't harp on it too much, but you don't need a big audience to be seen. So again, these are insights from the last 3 months, 100,000 views, and you can see based on the higher view days, you can go to your threads from that day. It's probably pretty obvious what threads took off just based on the comments and interactions with them. But 100,000 views for only 271 followers at the time is, I mean, you can't get that reach with that few of followers anywhere else currently. And so you can go back. Insights are always helpful. I love insights because you can go back to those threads and sometimes you can look and kind of dissect them and why they took off. I say sometimes because sometimes social media is just weird and something will take off. And even being in this business 7 years, I couldn't tell you why. It just sometimes it happens. Sometimes it doesn't. You could post the same thing again and it might not have the same results. But it gives you a starting point. I'm always pro insights to start there if you're stuck on, okay, where do I go from here? What worked in the past? How can we do that again? So the algorithm on Threads is set up based on keywords and relevance and topics that it thinks you want to read about and be engaged with. And then it will show your content to people who are the other end of that want to learn about those topics, want to engage with those topics that you're talking about. It takes some tweaking. I will tell you when I first got on Threads, I about gave up on it because it was not the type of content I'd want to see. It was just nothing that I would want to engage with, stuff that made me roll my eyes, stuff that made me angry when I'd get on social media, just not fun stuff. But the more engaging you do with the stuff that you do like, the more that your algorithm will adjust to show you the content that you want to comment on, repost, and the more that your content will get shown to the right people as well. So it takes some learning. Yeah, all algorithms are constantly learning, but I say that just so you won't get frustrated and give up either. So, as with any content anywhere, we're going to think about your keywords and how they're relevant to your the type of content that you're trying to put out, your business in general. So, real estate related keywords, of course, topics as well. And then your outbound engagement. So, I talked about that a little bit with fixing your algorithm, but in general, just the more engagement you put in, the more people have a chance to see your name, to see your content, see your thread posts, find you, land on your profile in general. People scroll for conversation on this app, or just to read those quick threads and think, oh, yeah, that's me. I feel seen. I feel heard. I relate to that. That's hilarious. That kind of stuff. Not the perfectly curated pictures or cinematic videos on other platforms. So just kind of be thinking about that when you're creating posts for threads. And when I say creating, you really don't have to put that much thought into creating these threads. And that's why I want you to try it out because you can just, for a couple of days, put your random thought of the day and see what happens and spend some time engaging on the app with other people and see what happens. Of course, things that are, trending in the world, are always going, just like with Twitter. If something was trending, those threads are going to do better. So, of course, I go back to my Colts reference, but on the day that Daniel Jones had a terrible game, that topic was trending. If I'm going to talk about that, that thread is probably going to go wider. Um, of course, this goes without saying, but when always posting about your business, keep in mind that you're posting for your business and try to steer clear of the controversial topics if you can, even if they are trending. It's just better that way. And watch what you're engaging with too, because other people will see what you're engaging with. So just something to keep in mind. But timely language, those trending references that you can speak to kind of skyrocket your reach, or humor that's niche for real estate. I mean, that's always going to do well too. Okay, so I wanted to I was just reading the chat. I still do not know what 6-7 means either. If you guys have questions as I'm going, feel free to put them in the chat and then I'm sure I'll have a few minutes here at the end that I can answer questions. Just wanted to note that as well. Okay, so some examples just to get you started of what to post on Threads. And I have a couple pages like this in this presentation. One thing I will note is these ideas are to kind of get you started. I wouldn't post them word for word just because you want to put your own personal spin on it. And Threads doesn't want regurgitated, duplicated posts. So those will probably never really do well. You'll see it on Threads where people are just copying and pasting bar for bar other people's threads on their own. Threads account, which is just, I don't really get the point of it. You can repost other people's content, which I can show you like the buttons for all that when we get to that point. But I just wanted to note that these are really just to get you started and thinking in the mindset of what types of topics to even get started with. So these different styles. The hot take is always going to do well. And when I say hot take, I mean this isn't really the hottest of takes, but something like this, just a quick thought that pops into your head about real estate that people don't often think about, or that you think about a lot and you want to know if other people do too. Real estate isn't seasonal, it's situational. And then, I mean, this can spark some conversation, right? So, as simple as this, you can add a question like, what are your thoughts? Something like that. It is literally the shortest couple of sentences you can put into a piece of content and just see what happens. Short advice. If you're buying in quarter four, don't skip the pre-approval. The most basic stuff to you is not basic to people who are not buying or selling every day. I say this all the time when it comes to creating content because it's always relevant. I know you think it's too simple and too basic to share, but to other people, it's not. So just make a list of the most basic real estate advice ever. And that could be your week's worth of threads right there. Relatable is always going to get that conversation going or people resharing your posts if they feel the same way. Um, this is, again, you could take any example from your week. You could be standing in this kitchen showing this house and type this out real quick, as quickly as you could send someone a text. You could post this on Threads and leave it and see what happens. Personal share. 5 years ago today, I sold my first house. I still remember the nerves. This is personal share and relatable. So again, speaking to your own experience in real estate and how the emotions that are tied to it, how you can relate to that can make people feel so understood and seen and connected to you with just two sentences. Always popular are the poll style. So asking questions, again, I've mentioned people love to comment on threads, love to give their opinion. So if you give them the opportunity to, you have a good chance of getting stuff seen. Now, I will say it took probably a few months, maybe at least a few weeks of posting every day on threads, just a simple sentence, to really have a thread that took off and got tons of comments. And then from there, it just snowballed. And we had more threads take off after that. So we were posting for our business, for our agency, daily to crickets, basically. So I want you to know that so that you don't feel discouraged if you're asking questions like this in your threads and no one's responding. It's okay. You don't have to delete it. Keep posting. And oftentimes, the thread that will take off the first time is not going to be related to real estate or your business, but keep mixing in all of the things, making it clear that you're in real estate, what you specialize in, who you can help, all these types of reels, but then throw in that fun stuff too. Okay, engagement on threads. Because if you know me, you know how I value outbound engagement when it comes to social media platforms, especially Instagram. Spending time commenting on other people's content. If you are only on social media to post your own content and then leave, it's going to be an uphill battle and it's going to be crickets for a lot longer, a lot more crickets involved. Um, so Threads is the same way. I've already mentioned it helps your algorithm learn what you like if it sees what you comment on. So that's one reason for engagement. But I just think it's really important if you're going to post a thread a day and try that for a few weeks, that you're giving it the full experience and also spending 5 minutes when you post that thread to go comment on a few threads that you like or hyping a few people up on, your friends that are also trying threads for the first time. So replying to comments is the big one. Outbound engagement, like replying. So if someone takes the time to comment on your thread, answer the question you've asked or whatever, um, you've got to reply. So replies to those comments, and if you can do it sooner than later, the algorithm sees that that post is active and will continue to show it to more people, and you're more likely to get even more comments and for it to go even farther. So there's plenty of motivation to reply to those comments, and it takes just a couple seconds. And, you know, um, whether the comment was, whether it's useful or not, I'm chuckling because I should probably also warn you that since this platform is what it is, and it can be a little unhinged sometimes, and there's some, interesting threads that are the ones to take off, you may get a troll every now and then that comments on your content, or just a rude random comment. Just reply to those too and be super nice and thank them for the engagement because on this platform, you cannot take it too seriously. You'll see people are there's some crazy people out there. So roll with it. Obviously, if it's totally out there, you can always delete comments, but we typically just reply and move on. So reply to comments that people leave on your pages, repost other people's content that you like. I think I have a slide on here on where those buttons are. If not, I will go back and show you one of the threads just to point out those buttons. It's one click to repost someone's thread, and it will go on your little repost tab, and it gives it another opportunity to show in the threads feed. So again, it's more ways for people to find you because you're actively engaging on the platform. And then I think I mentioned this already, but you get rewarded for basically contributing to the conversation. So if the algorithm, I talk about the algorithm like it's this mean person who sits and decides what content gets seen and what doesn't. I mean, basically. But if you are posting a thread and then logging off the platform and do nothing with it all day, versus if you are posting a thread and contributing to the conversation, posting comments on other people's threads, maybe on the same topic or similar topics, um, then your content that you just posted is more likely to be seen because you are actively on the platform. Again, these platforms want you to spend time there, so they're going to reward people that give a little bit. I'm not saying you have to doom scroll for hours to get these results, but these 5 to 10 minutes when you blocked off your social media marketing time, um, it's a good time to do some engagement. And then if you spend some time on bigger accounts that are relevant, so it could be large real estate related accounts, local influencer accounts, indie businesses, restaurants or vendors you recommend, contractors that you work with, whatever it may be, if you spend time there, people who have bigger accounts that have bigger followings, and where more people are likely to see your comments, it's a good strategy for engagement because if you're commenting on those threads that have, their account has thousands of followers, it's going to get seen by hundreds of thousands. People read comments. People love to go to the comment section. So if they see your name pop up there, it's just another chance for them to click on you, find your profile, see what you're all about, give you a follow. So that's why I say always watch what you're saying when you're engaging. I mean, assume that everyone's going to see your comment, but it's another opportunity to be seen. So that's why I always recommend it. Okay. Um, Hold on, sorry. I'm fighting a cold, so I'm losing my voice. Okay, so repurposing threads content. I promised I would get to this section because I love repurposing. I love repurposing content that you posted last year. So if you posted something that took off that did well, holiday related this time last year, you should be posting it again this year. You do not need to come up with new content every day for the rest of your life. And the first time someone told me that, it changed my life because we don't have time to come up with new content every single day for the rest of our lives. And if it already worked, let's not reinvent the wheel, right? Just put tweaks on it to make it relevant to what's working now, what's trending now, and you're good to go. So repurposing Threads content and tweak this based on if you are already posting to other platforms and you want to also post to Threads, how you can repurpose that content to Threads, or look at it through the other lens. If Threads is where you're going to start and this is going to get you in the social media game, then great. Let's figure out how we can use the Threads content that you put out to also get you active on Instagram in your email marketing. Other ways that we can make it all consistent and increase your reach. So captions is a simple place to start. So if you are writing a thread that takes off and maybe it's just one or two sentences, how can you turn that into an Instagram post? And maybe it's making a short video. Maybe it's posting a brand photo of you with that thread in the caption and just seeing how that does. See who makes, see if it takes off on that platform too. So just making those quick threads that work into slightly longer captions or carousels, because I'm all for posting at least two images on Instagram and Facebook. Carousel posts get more reach than single image posts. So if you can turn your couple of sentence thread into a carousel post where one sentence is on each slide and they have to keep swiping to read the full thought, that's another way to repurpose a thread into a 5 slide post that you can put on Facebook and Instagram. Reels too. So if it was a quick little tip or trick that was your thread, then you can put that as the on-screen hook for a reel. Create a 7-second video with that thread on screen, just typed out for the hook, and then add a little bit more detail into the caption. Or you could do a voiceover talking about the topic that was in your thread with a short video. And then, as I mentioned, emails. Emails are underrated these days. And if you have an email list, even if you have a couple dozen people on your email list, get started sending out regular emails. It doesn't have to be frequent, but this is a good place to start. If you are, posting on threads, your thought of the day, your thoughts of the week could be compiled into an email or even of the month, just a couple of topics you could pull from your threads that did well and build them into a couple of section email newsletter. So repurpose at a minimum the topics on all of your platforms and just tweak them to the form of content that works best. So that's why I noted here. It's an excellent place to just test out keywords and general topics and see how they are received and go from there. And then this is just for you guys. And Grace has this presentation. If you email her, she can send you the PDF. But if you want to take a quick screenshot or a photo, these are just a couple more ideas of how simple and easy it can be to put out a quick thread. Stuff like this, if you can tag, you can always tag businesses that also have threads. That's another fun way to increase your reach. So, the coffee at Tag the Coffee Shop is life-changing, that type of thing. People who agree are going to let you know they agree. People who disagree are also going to let you know. The coffee shop could reshare. It's all kinds of additional reach you can get there. I'm always preaching collaborate when you can, shout out other people that are active on social media when you can, because they're likely to share your content. And again, that's more eyes, more eyes, more eyes. That's what we want. Okay. And again, work smarter, not harder. So if you just do not know where to start with this still, that's okay. I get it. But this gives you a copy and pastable prompt that you can put into ChatGPT to come up with some threads ideas. So I'm a real estate agent looking to build engagement and visibility on threads with short conversational posts. My brand is, insert what your brand is. I put friendly, helpful, local to Carmel, Indiana, whatever your city is, city, state. Um, so describe your brand and your location, and then tell it to give me three threads post ideas for each day this week that I can choose from. Include a mix of personal, funny, educational, and opinion-based content. Here are some specific things on my calendar this week. So if you have, like, again, I have a Colts home game coming up, I'm going to put that in there so we can talk about it. If you have a new buyer appointment, or you're showing homes, or an open house, or a office meeting on Tuesday morning, whatever it may be, give it your calendar overview so it can personalize some things. And then keep each idea short, under 300 characters. You want to give it the character limit for threads. Make sure it doesn't sound like a sales pitch. You want it to sound, on brand for you. And then these are just some other tweaks that you can tell it to do based on your brand: professional but casual, funny but still on brand, warm, community focused, spicy, or bold take. The biggest thing, though, with these AI prompts, I have a love-hate relationship with AI because uh, it's going, it's mostly going to give you garbage, but it will give you a place to start so that you can make that garbage beautiful. So it will give you a list. Let's say we asked it for three ideas for each day. You need to make it sound more like you, but at least you have some starting point. If your brain was just not in content threads posting mode, now it is. So you've got three ideas. Oh, that's good, but I'm going to make it better and talk about this instead. So this just at least is a launching pad to get you going. And then I don't think I mentioned it in this presentation, but if you've ever taken one with me, you've heard about Metricool. If not, write down Metricool. It is my favorite scheduling tool. It's spelled just how it sounds, METRI, cool. Um, they have a free version for a single brand. So, like yourself, as many platforms as you want. I mean, they have LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Threads. They have YouTube. They have platforms we don't even use that you can connect your accounts to and schedule your posts in advance. So, if you're like me, you do not want to log into a social media account every day and post live every day. For our agency, obviously, we can't. We have a dozen clients that we're posting for on any given day. So we are scheduling using Metricool, and Threads is one that you can schedule for. So when you do this prompt in ChatGPT and you get your ideas, you can do a thread a day and it's not so intimidating. It's not so, oh, I have to get my phone out and get on that app every day. Now, do still recommend you pop in and check on how your thread's doing and reply to those comments and spend some time engaging, but at least it's not I have to get on this app 7 days a week and come up with something witty and funny to say. So highly recommend signing up for Metricool, scheduling out a week or two's worth of threads, and just see which ones work and which ones don't, and keep experimenting. That's the biggest thing. Like I said, if you were to start today, I would say go through the end of the year at least, and just play around with it and see if you um, have anything take off. So this is my favorite piece of strategy for threads. You really don't need to overthink it. You just need to post it and see what happens. Um, you can keep a running note tab, or in your notes app, you can keep a running thread of threads ideas. Or you can just go post it right now. Because, like I said, there's no penalty for posting multiple times a day. You just never know what's going to hit with your audience. So if it pops into your head, go post it like you would a text, or stock these up so that you can schedule them out in advance. So I do recommend frequency on this platform, which your mouth probably dropped open if you heard me say that, because I am always quality over quantity. But this is a platform where the more you post, the more likely it is that you're going to get that higher reach. And it's not hard posts. It's not things that you have to overthink. So it should be doable, especially for scheduling in advance. So a low effort goal would be three threads a week, or one a day. We do one a day, Monday through Friday. Unless we have something extra going on, then we'll post multiple times a day. But that gives us like that weekend break from it, but still very consistent. So that just gives you an idea of kind of where maybe to start and see what happens. And then the repost reply here is what that looks like. So if you hit those arrows that are spinning or forming a circle there, that is the repost button. So if you hit that on anyone else's post, it will give you these options. And if you click repost, then it will go to your repost tab. It'll go on the feed showing that you reposted it. So that's just like I promised, that would be something I showed you. And then this little send arrow here, or this paper airplane. If you click that, it'll give you other options of places to share it. So one thing that we do for our agency is share these to our stories on Instagram because if you've taken that workshop before, Instagram stories can be a total game changer for your business. So I love, love, love posting in Instagram stories daily. So this is an easy, if we don't have a story for that day, repurposing, getting our threads content on another platform, because the topic is usually still relevant and it shows people that you're on threads if they want to follow you there. Um, yeah, and just have some fun. Ask people questions, talk about topics that you enjoy talking about, and you'll be surprised the things that take off. Like I said, a lot of our threads that have done well have been about and my kids are a huge part of my brand. I don't share details on them, but just talking about being a mom in general is part of my brand, and those are usually relatable. The sports topics are relatable, or just like that one that I just showed, talking about Canva tools that we use in our business, um, relatable to our niche. Those seem to do really well. So hopefully this gives you a starting point to kind of test things out. And if you have questions, I think Grace is already answering some questions in here, but I will take a look. Okay, yeah. Email Grace if you want this PDF workshop.
Um, One is if you have a private personal account and a public business account, what kind of like advice for that kind of setup? I typically advise people to maybe like once a week, depending on how much you post on your personal account, maybe 2 times a week. I would leave around like 2 to 3 posts of your personal account and posts in between them, but I would repost your business account posts onto your private personal account. That way you have that built-in warm audience on your personal account
Mhm.
and they are seeing and being driven to the business account. Do you agree, Kimberly?
Yeah, especially I'm not 100% sure on which are we talking about Instagram or Threads? Are you talking, Maggie, about setting up a Threads account or are you talking about Facebook or Instagram? Instagram? Okay. So Grace, yes, let me backtrack here a little bit. Exactly what Grace said, especially for Facebook. So if you happen to be doing that on Facebook, it is so hard to get your Facebook business page seen. But if you have, like she said, that warm audience on your personal page, 100% reshare. If you have a private, personal, and a public business account, I'm assuming you're using your public business account for the real estate business. So that's what I would use to set up threads. Because I don't even know I don't know how you would reach people on Threads through a private account, like unless you just wanted to be seen by and follow your close group of friends. Um, I would set it up through the public business Instagram profile. So when you go into Threads for the first time, select that business account. Does that answer your question? Okay, great. And then, yes. Grace answered the question, is Instagram training recordings available on the Tucker Toolbox? They are. She is. amazing about putting those all on the YouTube page. There's some past, I don't know if Instagram in general has been covered, but we've done, Instagram stories, Instagram reels, those are the big ones. And we try to redo those topics. I say redo. We revisit those topics live probably every, what, 6 months, Grace, would you say? Because
I would
there's
say so.
Okay, yeah. So I'll have to go back and check the last time we updated it and just put that on the calendar for a future topic because it changes so often and they're always updating stuff that it helps to kind of do a refresh on those topics we've done in the past.
We did Instagram Reels and Stories a month ago.
Oh, perfect. That's pitiful that I didn't remember that.
You're good. I just looked it up. But we have 10 previous workshops on the YouTube page, Checker Training YouTube page. Stuff about generating leads, frequently asked questions. We have two about Instagram Reels, another one just for stories, optimizing your platform, understanding analytics, all of that kind of stuff. So if you guys have any questions on
Yes.
that stuff, I recommend checking there. But I would say probably like in 6 months we will revisit Reels. We like
Yeah.
to update the main topics as Instagram and Facebook grow.
Yes. And if you're going to rewatch the topics, like the real stories, make sure you watch the most recent one. And Grace, can you put that link to the YouTube page in the chat, please?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. If you guys have any more questions, I'll hang out for a minute. So feel free to drop those in. And I wanted to check.